everybody. Becky Biermeyer here with Everybody Look Up at gmail.com. And today I have a really great life story. And this is the most requested story my students have had for 22 years. And they run in the door in the fall and they say, Miss B, we hear you have a story about a frog. And I do. Thing that they don't necessarily put together is it's a great life lesson for all of us. So check it out. All right. So 7th grade, I'm sitting in science class, and there's a boy in my class named Peter, and he was probably the most popular kid around, but not because he was kind and nice. It was more because he was mean and intimidating, and so people didn't dare cross him. And anyway, we had been dissecting frogs in science for like 3 weeks, and they were so gross. Like, it was such a putrid smell. You could smell it coming down the hall. We get to the classroom, the teacher says we need to dispose of these. She realizes she forgot the environmental friendly bags down in the office. So she says, listen, I've got to go to the office and I need to trust you guys. Do not touch your frogs. And so off she goes, and Peter, of course, goes ahead and picks up his frog, nasty dead frog, and starts dangling it in his mouth, like that, right? Well, we had had enough of Peter, especially the kid sitting next to him, because the kid next to him takes his fist and boom, clocks him up under the chin. One frog was in mouth. For real. What do we hear? Crunch. What do we see? This frog juice, formaldehyde, just running down the front of his face. And the other thing is, of course, if it's running down the front of his face, Peter's totally gagging because it's running down his throat. And he's like, ugh. It was horrid and yet kind of funny. So everybody stands up in the room and applauds the kid who did the punching, because you know what? Sowing and reaping is a real thing. And Peter had sown so many negative things into everybody that he had it coming to him. And everybody cheered. Peter sat back down. The teacher walks in, and we're all sitting there perfectly. And she goes, good job, boys and girls. I knew that you all could behave and do a great job while I was out of the room. And nobody said a thing. You know, in Mark chapter 4, it talks about the farmer who puts in the seed. And I'm not talking about the part where it talks about what kind of ground it fell on. But if you keep reading in Mark chapter 4, it also goes on to say that the farmer does his part. He puts the seed in and he goes to bed and comes out and does the same thing, you know, every day, tending. But while he's asleep, God does something none of us can do, and he begins to help that seed sprout. So in the end, there's a harvest. So the point of the story, and of course you probably have put this together, is what you sow, you also reap. What am I sowing? What am I reaping? What have I sown in my life over and over, and now I'm reaping not so good consequences? Or what am I sowing that's great and is bearing wonderful fruit? How about you? Like, what are those things? So let's be intentional and think about what you're putting in and what the results are going to be. I would love to hear from you. Everybody look up at gmail.com. Email me and let me know how I can be praying for you. Maybe you've sown some really horrible seed and now you're reaping from it. Could I be praying for you? I would love that. So shoot me an email, and I look forward to reading it. And you have my word, I will absolutely be praying. Everybody look up at gmail.com. Becky Biermeyer here. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.